The history for the Philadelphia experiment involving not only the U.S.S. Eldridge, but some earlier ships in experimentation goes back a long ways. Actually goes back to 1931, when the first experimental considerations of the possibility of making an object invisible were engaged by Dr. Nikola Tesla, Dr. John Hutchinson of the University of Chicago, and a staff physicist by the name of Dr. Emil Kurtenauer, all of whom were at that time at the University of Chicago. Preparations were well underway and nearly complete for the battleship test, and Tesla was having considerable misgivings about it at that time. He knew because of the extremely high power required, electromagnetic power, that there could be damage to dead sailors because the equipment was going to be on the deck and the rotating fields were very powerful, and any personnel on deck would be exposed to them, and he expected there would be serious problems. He had the choice of going ahead and hoping for the best, or, as he did choose, sabotage the test, detune the equipment so nothing happened and nobody was hurt. And, of course, he at that point...
That was the first test, Al, on the big ship?
That was the first test of a big ship.
And he detuned the equipment, actually took it off frequency so it wouldn't happen?
That's correct. He deliberately sabotaged the test.
All right, let's talk second experiment. Well,
okay. To continue where I left off, they decided they wanted to do some pressure testing on the hull to find out exactly what was going on, had a second crew placed on board, which was to operate that equipment only, and they assigned a submarine to go under the ship and find out what was going on with the waterline or whatever. Who's down with us, it? Who's down with us, it? Who's down with us, it? So all of this was set up for the final test on the 12th of August, and we had the crew on board and everything ready to go, and the last minute something happened. They pulled the crew, the special crew, and put them on the sub, removed the sub, and then told us of the regular crew for the test to go ahead for the test. Well, at that point, needless to say, Duncan and I were very concerned. What's going on here? We had that funny gut feeling that something was terribly wrong, but we didn't know what. So at the appropriate time, we were given the radio command to proceed. They're both be close. They're both be close. They're both be close. And all of a sudden, there was a blue flash, and the ship disappeared, waterline and all, and there was no ship in the harbor. It was gone, and I don't mean visibly gone, it was physically gone. Near more than not so weird. Near more than not so weird. Near more than not so weird. Needless to say, von Neumann and everybody was panicked when this happened, and there was no way to raise anyone on the radio. There was absolutely no radio connection. Conditions continued to get worse in the control room, so we decided, let's get out of here. Opened the bulkhead door, ran out on deck. So a sailor's milling around very severely. No one was buried in the deck at that time. And we've got the bright idea, well, let's jump overboard and swim ashore. We were both good swimmers, so we did jump overboard. Now, I must state that at that point, we could see nothing beyond the railing of the ship. It was just a gray fog, if you will, a gray something. We didn't know what it was, but we couldn't see anything beyond the ship. The ship was still quite visible of itself, though there was a haze running around on the ship.
Al, here you are. You jumped off the ship. You're on dry land. greeted by a helicopter with a spotlight, and you're on a military base, and you're in 1983.
Correct.
Oh,
We didn't believe it at first, but after watching everything, seeing the evidence, the sheriff did a real did you? The sheriff did a real did you? The sheriff did a real did you? We actually went up during the daylight hours up above the ground on the base. They did not let us off the base, but we did have a look around it. She had the faucet of London. She had the faucet of London. She had the faucet of London. Ship reappeared, and they immediately observed from the observing carrier, the principal observer ship, that there was something wrong. Part of the antenna mast, special one, was gone. No, warship. When they boarded the ship, they found out much more about what happened. They found 2 men buried in the steel deck. 2 men were buried upright in the steel bulkhead. A 5th man had his hand buried in the steel bulkhead. He lived. He was the only one of the 5 that lived. They cut his hand off and gave him an artificial hand later. And absolute pandemonium when they found this. And those who were still on deck were insane and totally out of it. I do mean insane. And those below deck were perfectly all right because they were shielded by the steel. Had knowledge it was ordinary. Had knowledge it was ordinary. Had knowledge it was ordinary.
First thing they found was 2 sailors buried in the steel deck. The bodies were literally buried in the steel. Dying or near dead. And the Arabs so laughing, yes sir. And the Arabs so laughing, yes sir. And the Arabs so laughing, yes sir.
For survivors, there are still other problems due to the powerful electromagnetic fields they have been exposed to.
The problem basically was that the human nervous system could not take exposure to that level of magnetic and electric fields, and it would cause neural damage. In any case, a special crew was put on board. The ship was brought back to dockside at the Philadelphia Navy Yard, and they had 4 days of inquiry and hearing what happened. So I made my report. I was there. Duncan was not. He was among those who were missing. And nobody believed my report. Van Norman didn't believe it. But in any case, he told me, I'll talk with you later.
Nerve damage so severe that some of the victims are reportedly institutionalized, while falsely classified as missing in action.
Their family was never told the truth. First divorce, the rents of my friends. First divorce, the rents of my friends. First divorce, the rents of my friends. They were told basically that they were lost at sea during the war as part of the war effort, which is, of course, a very plausible answer. I have, but the problem is the proof that I have of this is not publishable because the people who can corroborate these stories do not wish to be known publicly.